Hello there everybody and welcome back to Movie Squirm. Today I'm going to be reviewing the 2016 film Ghostbusters, or as everyone likes to refer to it, Ghostbusters 2016. And this is directed by Paul Feig and stars Kristen Wiig, Melissa McCarthy, Kate McKinnon and Leslie Jones. This tells the story of four paranormal investigators who team up to battle ghosts in New York City. Wow, this film caused quite the stir in 2016, didn't it, when it was released, because of the fully female-led cast. And a lot of Ghostbusters fans just were not happy about this. They were big fans of the original two films, which are fully male-led casts, of course, and they've been clamouring for a Ghostbusters 3 for years. Obviously, that was not really possible to get all four of them back in a Ghostbusters 3 because of Harold Ramis's death in 2014. So it probably did feel like a little bit of a kick in the teeth that they didn't get that, and then a fully female-led Ghostbusters was coming out. Now, I cannot tell anyone how to feel about that. I heard the news and I thought, okay, let's just see where that's going. But I am a diehard RoboCop fan. You know, it's my favourite movie of all time. And if they announced a new RoboCop film tomorrow and said, oh, by the way, it's a female in the lead, that would probably irk me a little bit because it's an important part of my life. And RoboCop has always just been a great male character that I looked up to as a kid. And, you know, I still watch it to this day. So I could sort of see where they're coming from. I can't tell anyone how to feel, but I would still go and see that movie. Out of curiosity, I would. So, people's emotions were all over the place, let's just put it that way. And I know people who still haven't watched this movie to this day because of that reason. So, it just shows how upset people really did get. It was a very, very popular film and franchise in the 80s, wasn't it? But I decided to revisit it, and the first time I watched it, I had quite a good time with this film, I'm not going to lie, guys. But what did I think on this rewatch? Let's find out. Now, I got to say, guys, I think this film is quite funny. Like, I was surprised how much I laughed at this film both times that I've watched it. There was just some really good comedic one-liners and dialogue, especially from Kristen Wiig, who I really like when I see her in films. You know, I think she's got a real funny personality. She sort of takes over the screen and she's someone that you always latch onto. I always feel sorry for the characters that she plays. She always plays someone who's a little bit of a loser, really, who's on a negative path. And so many things just go wrong for her. And it's the same in this movie. But, man, she made me laugh a hell of a lot here. And it's not just her who provide the laughs. A lot of other characters do as well in the film.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Oh, did you want to?
Sorry, I'll let you.
Next time.
I mean, I do have a little bit of problem with the comedy, which I'll get to in a minute, but a lot of it is fine. And I do like the four main characters on screen together. I think they've got a good chemistry. They work well as Ghostbusters. They feel like a team. No one's trying to top the other one. They all look out for each other, and they feel like they've got a real good, solid friendship there. But I gotta say, man, Chris Hemsworth as the receptionist for these Ghostbusters is by far my favourite character in this entire film. He really cracked me up, man. He's the worst receptionist I have ever seen in my life. He just can't do anything right. Like, the phone's ringing and the Ghostbusters have to tell him to pick it up. And then he goes, oh yeah, thanks for that. And then they have to ask him what the phone call was all about. And he go, oh yeah, someone's just reported a ghost. It's emergency. You need to get on it. He also takes the lens out of his glasses because his glasses keep steaming up. He goes, yeah, I just walk around with these glasses on with no lens now. You know, it lets me see a little bit better because they're not steaming up. He's even pointing to his eyes at one point, going, oh my God, that's so loud. And they're like, yeah, he's pointing at his eyes, not his ears. Man, I've heard a lot of people say they don't like this character, but man, he totally worked for me. I was surprised how well-paced this movie is, despite it being the longest Ghostbusters film. I don't know how long Frozen Empire is going to be at the time of this recording, but I actually watched the extended version, which is 2 hours and 15 minutes, but the original theatrical is 2 hours. But I just think it flies by. There's something always happening on the screen, like you're kind of laughing all the time, you know, there's something fun happening with the characters, something quirky here and there. There's no doubt that despite the problems we're going to get into, this is still an entertaining film that you can have a lot of fun with. And I think that's what this movie went for more than anything, the fun factor. Now, I do have a little bit of a mixed aspect with this film, and that is the storyline. I get that they were going for this reboot, remake, so they didn't do anything too out of the box. They just wanted to keep it very simple, and that's exactly what it is. It's a very, very easy story to follow. There's nothing too out there, nothing too ambitious. It's just very, very simple, but it kind of works for what it's going for. And I think if they did anything too much difficult or too out of the box, it could have made the movie crash and burn. And I gotta say, the villain in this movie, Rowan, is just another version of Walter Peck from the first film. If you remember, Walter Peck releases a load of ghosts into New York City. However, that is accidental, and he blames the Ghostbusters, and Rowan does intend to do that, but that's what he wants to do. He just wants to release all these ghosts and spirits into New York to teach all these people a lesson who've harmed him in the past. You know, he's blaming the world for all the problems, and I just think he doesn't bring much to the film at all. And my favourite part of him was actually when he possessed Chris Hemsworth, and Chris Hemsworth became the villain in the third act. He just brought, you know, he just had a bit more of a fun factor. He's not too evil, but, you know, he brought a lot more entertainment value, put it that way. However, guys, this film is far from perfect, and it does have a ton of problems. Now, one thing that I said I liked about this film is the comedy, and that is true. It made me laugh a lot. However, there were also a lot of jokes that didn't land. Now, why is this a negative? It's probably because it goes for a joke every minute or two, and it's not really spread out. And that is not really what the comedy was like in the first two Ghostbusters movies. There's a perfect blend of seriousness drifted in with comedic timing and one-liners and stuff. But here, it's just joke, 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 joke. And it's definitely more of a full-on comedy movie, this. There were scenes where the characters would tell a joke and then they'd all laugh. And I wasn't laughing with them. I was laughing at other jokes, but the ones where they were laughing, it's kind of like it's carrying on the comedy. That wasn't funny. Like, the joke didn't land and the characters are laughing, and I was just like, oh, that's awkward because I'm not laughing. So things like that. There's also this one moment where two characters are talking about how a guy dances, and they're kind of arguing over it, and one of them's going, I bet he dances all cool like this, and the other one's going, no, he definitely dances like a bitch. And it just goes back and forth, and I thought, is this meant to be funny? It just felt awkward. I gotta say, the ghosts in this movie don't look great at all. Now, the first movie is 32 years older than this film, and the ghosts look better. They actually look like real ghosts in that film, but here, they're too modernized. There's too much CGI. They're too animated. They're too bright. They're too in your face, and they just do not work. They felt like they were just lights. Like, it felt like when the Ghostbusters were tackling these ghosts, it was just lights against lasers, and it stood out like a sore thumb, unfortunately. So yeah, I just don't think that brightening things up and making it more modern is the best way to go. They look way better in Ghostbusters 1 and 2 and had well better creative designs as well. And this really brings down the third act of the film, because that's basically what it is, just them battling a load of glowing lights. And you really just don't latch onto any of these ghosts. You really don't have fun with them. They're just kind of dull and depressing villains, really. I mean, there's nothing stand out about any of them. Even Slimer, when he comes into it, I was just like, oh, really? I mean, it doesn't feel like the Slimer from the other two movies, put it that way. And then we even get this, like, the Ghostbuster logo, which everyone has seen, of course. That becomes a ghost and becomes this big, giant, stomping ghost that goes around New York City. And it just feels like the Marshmallow Man reborn. It goes for that in the worst possible looking way. The Marshmallow Man looked absolutely incredible in 1984, but this thing was just a big CGI blobby mess. And as much as the Ghostbusters do work well together on screen, I've got to say, Kate McKinnon's character did irk me a little bit. I mean, I found it quite annoying at times. Got these goofy glasses on. She's always doing these stupid movements, and she's got these annoying mannerisms about her that it just feels like she's really forcing the comedy, and she didn't quite work for me in this film. I mean, she's tolerable, but most of the time I'm just thinking, man, I would not like to hang around with you unless it's in this movie. I'd probably get annoyed with her after an hour. I gotta say, guys, there's a few cameos in this film, but the Bill Murray one is a little bit of a slap in the face to Ghostbusters fans. They have idolized this guy, the diehard Ghostbusters fans, for all through their childhood and stuff. And here he comes into this movie being a non-believer, and he says ghosts are not real and stuff. And next minute, a ghost takes him out, throws him through a window, and kills him. If you want to do a Bill Murray cameo, right, go watch Zombieland. This isn't the way to go. However, guys, despite the problems, this film is fine. It's nothing too great. It's nothing too memorable. But you can go in and have a good time with it. However, it's never going to be my go-to Ghostbusters movie. I mean, I'm definitely going to revisit the first two and Afterlife over this. But it's an entertaining enough time. It's not bad. You know, I don't think there's a bad movie in the franchise so far, but this is definitely down the lower end of that franchise. Okay, guys, I'm just going to go ahead and rate this movie now. I'm going to give Ghostbusters 2016 a 6 out of 10. Maybe enough time has passed if you've boycotted this film that you can actually go and give it a go, especially with Afterlife and Frozen Empire coming out now. It's not like this is the way forward anymore. This movie is always going to exist. So maybe you might as well just watch it and you might get a bit of fun out of it. Who knows? Okay, guys, at the end of these reviews, I always like to leave a fun fact. Now, a fun fact for Ghostbusters 2016 is that Harold Ramis, of course, had died when this movie came out, so he could not make a cameo like the rest of the Ghostbusters team in this movie. But there is a bust of his head that we can see outside Erin's University at the beginning of the film. Okay, guys, hope you all enjoyed this review. Please don't forget to check out my other Ghostbusters reviews in the link down below. What do you think of Ghostbusters 2016? Are you a fan? Do you dislike this movie? Please do let me know and I'll get back to you all, I promise. Thanks so much, guys. You take care, and I'll see you on the next video.